Well, good morning from the Rice County Fair, our best of the best Rice County Agriculture Hall of Fame program. I call it Celebrate Agriculture to kick off the Rice County Fair. By the way, I'd like to thank some fine sponsors allowing us to broadcast the program from the Rice County Fair live. The Craig Keller Insurance Agency over there in your strand, Craig, does help protect all things important and valuable to you. Also, Hy-Vee of Faribault, the Rice County Soil and Water Conservation District, and South Central College. It's really a privilege to be here again and see all of you folks here, as I mentioned, to celebrate agriculture at the Rice County Fair. And one of the advantages of being able to broadcast this live is maybe there's some folks involved in agriculture in other counties that might think, hey, if Rice County can do that, Steele County does something similar to this, maybe we should start something like that in our county to recognize those outstanding in this big field of agriculture. I'd like to introduce Cassie Steves with the Faribault Chamber of Commerce. Again, this is a kind of a cooperation between a number of different organizations. First, of course, the Rice County Fair, along with the Faribault Chamber of Commerce. Wanted to say too a special thank you to Doug Gilbertson at the Nearstrand Agri Center. Since we started this, I believe, 13 years ago, Doug has sponsored this program and taken care of all the costs of the nice plaques and everything. Here's Cassie Steve. Let's give her a big hand because she's the one that keeps the Agribusiness Committee kind of somewhat pointed in the right direction. And trust me, she has her hands full sometimes.
Welcome, thank you. Mentioned, I'm Cassie Steves. I'm the Operations Director at the Faribault Chamber. So for over 100 years, the Faribault Chamber of Commerce has supported agriculture as the essential sector in our community and economy. The committee's mission and purpose is to promote ag education and careers and advance and promote relationships with the farm and business. At this time, I'd like to publicly thank all of our dedicated ag members. So if you're here, please stand. John Dvorak and Kelly Watts.
Walter and Luella Fuchs and Sandy Fuchs, could you come up? And I understand Dave Shomey wanted to say a couple words too. Come on up, Dave. Let's say a couple words first, Dave. Boy, we go way back too, don't we, Dave?
That's right. What a beautiful day, and what a day the Lord has made. And what a program. I really commend you people in Rice County for putting on an effort for you people getting out early in the morning hours and to enjoy this wonderful display. I've heard a lot about it from Art Matson, and it's coming to fruition today, and it's certainly an enjoyable time that my wife and I can drive over from Rochester today to do it. But to introduce our inductees, that your program is so well started, and you've got a wonderful list of recipients in your program, people that I've come to know many years. John Dvorak, I've seen that name many times, but a very worthy recipient that you're bringing in today, plus the others. But today, I've got a question for you. How many of you do Luella and Wally Fuchs? How many of you do them personally? Yes, there's a number of hands up. Okay, who was the dominant in the family? Was it Luella or was it Wally? Who was it? Speak up. Luella, somebody said, is that right? I would agree. That's the lady I kind of knew, and I knew Wally very well. Guernsey folks at heart. And people, that's the way I became acquainted with Wally and his wife. Luella was through the Guernsey business. And I want to relate a little story that I ran into and experienced with them, and just something that my wife and I have shared many times and had many laughs. But they were very involved in the activities of the Minnesota Guernsey Breeders Association, and we had decided to extend an invite to the American Guernsey Cattle Club in Peterborough, New Hampshire, to have the national meeting here in Rochester, Minnesota, and it was to be held in Rochester with a sale to follow up the fairgrounds there in Alcity County. The thing that was significant about it was that Luella took a real leadership role in it, and so we had a meeting of the committees in about 6 months before the actual thing came off, and it was held right here in Rochester at a Lutheran church that Luella and Wally had set up. And this is what happened. I want to share it with you. is the program was held about 1 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. We drove up here with my wife and 2 children, and we planned to meet with committee chairs were there, the members who planned the program for that national meeting in Rochester about 40 years ago. It's a long time ago, but a very significant happening. And so what happened is the meeting went on very well, and about 5 o'clock, Luella, through the efforts, rolled out a nice dinner right there in that Lutheran church here in Faribault. I don't know what the name of it was, but it was a very wonderful event. But after the event, my wife and I jumped in the car and we decided to drive back to Rochester, where I was residing at that time. But got down the road here on the interstate, and we had a significant snowfall, one of those winter snowstorms, where the wind started to blow, the snow really blew, and we were on the interstate out here and didn't know what to do. And really scary, because I had 2 children with me and my wife, and we wanted to get back to Rochester. But getting down here about to Medford, I said to my wife, I know a good motel in Owatonna. Maybe we should pull in and forget about driving through this storm. The wind was blowing and snowing very hard. We could not see much, a lot of truck traffic on the road. And so we went down, we pulled in the motel in Owatonna, South Owatonna, stayed for the night. I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning, I rolled back the shade. The sun was out, the sky was blue. We got the kids up and we drove back to Rochester. And we got back there, and the kids got them to Sunday school and church that day. And our little dog, I remember Pepper, was standing with her legs crossed, wanting to get out the door, because she wondered we didn't get home that night. But a very interesting time with the Fruits. But here is Luella put together that wonderful day of all these people who were organizing our national convention in Rochester. It was just one of the many things that the Fruits family were involved in the Guernsey business, because they loved that cow, that golden Guernsey cow that gave that golden Guernsey milk. So really a wonderful memories. We used to see them a lot of district meetings, state meetings, national events. Just great all around fine Christian people that you enjoyed being with and around. So we certainly commend you people in Rice County for today, recognizing them and putting them into your special fame, Hall of Fame, Clint. So good job. Thank you. Have a good day.
Walter and Luella are no longer with us, but I would just like for their family to stand up. They're being represented today by their daughter-in-law, Pat, and her son, Chris. Also grandsons, Nathan and Travis, and their sons and wife back there. On behalf of the Fuchs family, I would like to thank the committee for this award. We are very honored to be here this morning. They were very hardworking people. They promoted the Guernsey industry, and not only the Guernseys, but also the dairy industry here in Minnesota. Thank you very much.
Walter and Luella Fuchs purchased and operated a thriving dairy farm while raising their 2 children, Mike and Nancy. Luella was not only an accomplished cook and baker, but also an enthusiastic promoter of their milk, often sharing that her recipes always tasted better with a glass of milk. In the 1950s and 60s, Walter and Luella became an active member in the Guernsey Breeders Association, dedicating themselves to promoting and improving the breed. Walter was elected to the board of directors for the South Central District of the Minnesota Guernsey Cattle, and one of their quality Guernsey cattle, homebred, herd sire Boulder Creek Sunday Sam, was sampled by Midwest Breeders Co-op. During this period, they also engaged with the Rice County Extension Committee and the Wheeling Homemakers Extension Club. Luella's culinary expertise shone through as she shared her recipes, always encouraging others to enjoy them with milk. Throughout the 1970s, they continued their involvement with the Guernsey Breeders Association, Rice County Extension, and Wheeling Homemakers Club. Luella played a key role in publishing the well-known Yellow Rice County Extension Cookbook. Additionally, they joined the Faribault Chamber of Commerce Agribusiness Committee, hosting events like Breakfast on the Farm at their Boulder Creek Farm in Nearstrand, all the while managing the dairy farm. In the 1980s, their dedication remained unwavering. They maintained active roles in the Guernsey Breeders Association, Faribault Chamber, Rice County Extension, and Farm Bureau. Luella won numerous county prizes for her baked goods and served as the Rice County Farm Bureau Women's Chairman and Executive Secretary of the Minnesota Guernsey Breeders Association for over 20 years. Walter was elected Rice County Farm Bureau Vice President in 1982 and served in 1985 and through 1990 as President, and they were also honored as Outstanding Guernsey Breeders. Let's give them a hand. Did you have to say it today? You started like that? Well, congratulations. All right, Art, if you'd like to make your way up and talk about Al Johnson, you're filling in for Dick Langsley today.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm a damn poor substitute for Dick Langsley, but I called him yesterday morning and I said, Dick, can I give you a ride down to the fairgrounds for the Hall of Fame presentation? Nominated Al Johnson for this award, and he was selected. And Al said, I think you're going to be doing that for me. I'm tied up. So here we are. Dick did say that he was really excited to nominate Al Johnson for the Hall of Fame. Dick worked with Al on a number of projects on various parcels of property that he owned, and he always spoke very highly of Al's practical approach to soil conservation. Sometimes the book wasn't quite the right way to do it, to implement it, to make it work on the farm. And Al Johnson was the type of person that could figure out the right way to get it done and implement that as part of the soil conservation project. I personally met Al 50 years ago. My wife and I were looking to buy a small parcel of property outside Cannon City, and we stopped up to the Soil Conservation Office to get some information. How many of you remember where the Rice County Soil Water Conservation Office was 50 years ago? Where was it at? This point?
Down the hill.
50 years ago, the Rice County Soil and Water Conservation Office was on the second floor of the post office in Faribault. Moved a couple times since then, and now it's in what I call the Keating Law Office, part of the property that has been acquired by the county. Anyway, Judy and I found Al to be extremely knowledgeable, extremely helpful. He helped us with some projects on our small parcel, and the thing I liked best about Al was not the fact that he knew an awful lot, that he knew how to get things done, but Al Johnson was not a paper-pushing, sit-behind-the-desk bureaucrat. Al Johnson had dirty boots. He got out in the country. He worked on projects. He saw what was going on. He didn't just look at aerial photos or soil maps. He walked that farm to make the right decisions. Jerry, we got a great nominee here with Al Johnson. Oh, I need to have this, and I should mention this. You know, behind most successful men, you'll find a wonderful woman. And here is a wonderful woman. This is Gladys Johnson. I had the opportunity to work with her for a couple of years, and let me tell you, she was the best support staff anybody could ever get. Anytime you handed anything to Gladys Johnson, you knew it would be done properly, and the work would be excellent. Gladys, come on up here, bring your crew with you. You brought your wonderful daughter, Linda, along, and her husband, and your son, and his lovely wife. We want you all up here, and we want you all up here right now. Thank you very much.
And while they're making their way up, I'll read the bio about Al. Al Johnson's agriculture roots began on his family farm, where his passion blossomed early. A dedicated 4-H and FFA member, his leadership was recognized with the Minnesota State Farmer Award in 1942 and the State FFA Presidency 1943 to 1944. After serving in the U.S. Air Force during World War II, he continued his education at the University of Minnesota, St. Paul campus, and Iowa State University. In 1955, Al married his wife Gladys, and together they raised a family. Their dedication to service extended beyond agriculture, with both being active chartered members of Our Savior's Lutheran Church, serving on committees, and Al holding the church president position. Al's 34-year career with the USDA Soil Conservation Service was a testament to his commitment to the land. His legacy is defined by achievements in reducing soil erosion, enhancing water supplies, improving water quality, increasing wildlife habitat, and mitigating damage from floods and natural disasters. Throughout his career, Al actively participated in boards and committees while also serving as a dedicated mentor for 4-H and FFA members, along with new and seasoned farmers with a genuine desire to help others succeed. Al Johnson's life exemplifies a dedication to agriculture, conservation, and service. His leadership and commitment left a lasting impact on the land and the lives of all those that he touched. Wow. Would you like to say a couple words?
I guess I get that. Sure. Thank you very much. I wasn't expecting to say anything today, but on behalf of my mom and my sister and I would like to thank the Chamber for this awesome award. I have to admit we were a bit surprised when we were approached by Greg, my sister and I, about the award and the nomination, but we're very proud and thankful. My dad was a very humble guy and spent a lot of time at the fair. He was on the fair board for a number of years in the 70s, so we spent a lot of our youth here too. So thank you very much, appreciate it, and thank you for this awesome program.
Let's give one. Well, speaking of Al and his dedication to conservation, let's move on to the Conservation Award recipient for Rice County. Here to help with that is Steve Boss, Executive Director, Rice County SWCD. And while Steve gets all the fun of having to stand up here with Jerry, special thanks to Teresa back there who organizes everything. Let's give Teresa a hand too.
Hey Jerry, thank you for pointing out Teresa's, a little closer, okay. Thank you for recognizing Teresa. She did all the legwork on meeting with the folks that received these awards and getting all the pertinent details. I really appreciate her efforts. The first one up is the Wildlife Enhancement Award, and this is going to be presented to individuals and organizations who do an exemplary job in implementing conservation practices that benefit Rice County wildlife. Pleased to present this year's award to Larry Alders. Larry, if you can come on up. Yes. In 2011, Larry began volunteering with the Rice County Bluebird Recovery Program. For several years, he would put up bluebird nest boxes, first at his house, then at his neighbors' homes, and finally at a cemetery and church nearby. Today, he maintains around 20 bluebird nest boxes. In 2018, Larry started volunteering with the Red-Headed Woodpecker Recovery Project. He began improving the habitat in his backyard for the red-headed woodpecker. While his large yard is filled with old-growth oaks, he has also left several dead trees stand, provides crucial nesting habitat, roosting space, and food storage for the unique woodpecker. Larry also maintains 2 wood duck houses on his property. He approached his neighbor who has property on Wolf Creek and installed 4 nest boxes on their property, which he maintains. The boxes were constructed by the Kenyon Sportsman's Club, of which Larry is the president. Finally, this past year, Larry started volunteering for the University of Minnesota's Cedar Creek Ecosystem Science Reserve near East Bethel, Minnesota. At the reserve, Larry works with other researchers to help monitor the populations of different birds through the surveying of the reserve. The research helps to determine the health of the ecosystem and influences management of migratory bird species with special concerns. The result of Larry's efforts is a healthy habitat for bluebirds and other migratory bird species. The Rice SWC thanks Larry for his commitment to improving wildlife habitat in Rice County. He makes an outstanding choice for this year's award. Thank you, Larry. Okay, rolling right along. It's always fun to do this. It's 18 years, huh? I've been around working for the district for 20, so just about the whole time. And it's always fun to do this and see all the familiar faces.
And it's fun to publicize it too, because maybe some people that aren't involved in agriculture will become educated in that special bond between land and the people that own it.
Absolutely. Okay, so yeah, we get the pleasure of working with a lot of farmers across the county every year. And one of our highlights is presenting the Outstanding Conservationist Award to individuals, organizations for their accomplishments in the conservation world. This year's award is going to be presented to Joe and Sue Hollinger of rural Dundas. Come on up, guys. I've had the pleasure to know Joe and Sue for several years now, and they have farmed together for 40 years, beginning as a dairy farm in between Dundas and Northfield. As the town grew closer and feedlot regulations got tighter, they sold their dairy farm and began a new journey, row cropping, in 2005 at their current farm just south of Northfield. On the new farm, the Hollingers fixed gully erosion in the draws along an existing grass waterway, installed grass buffer strips along streams, and constructed 2 farmable water and sediment control basins. They still noticed other erosion between the rows of their crops, since alfalfa was no longer in their rotation. As a result, they decided to change their tillage practices. Instead of plowing, Joe started experimenting with no-till. Over the next couple of years, he converted all of their soybean acres to no-till. They then decided to construct yield trials comparing conventional corn to no-till corn. After a few years, they determined that the yields were basically equal, but major savings are noted on the no-till corn, including reduced fuel cost, time in the field, wear and tear on farm equipment, and less soil erosion. As a result, they switched to no-till on their corn acres as well. In 2019, the Hollingers started planting cover crops. This past year, nearly all of their acres were planted to cover crops, and even more soil was protected. Sue even uses cover crops in her garden. Way to go, Sue. The Hollingers are certified through the Minnesota Water Quality Certification Program and have received the Climate Smart and Soil Health endorsement. They have also been recognized as a river-friendly farmer by the Clean River Partners organization. Their dedication to conservation and soil health make the Hollingers an excellent choice for the 2024 Outstanding Conservationist Award. Congratulations.
Now moving along, special privilege to introduce the Rice County Farm Family of the Year. And our new extension educator in Rice and Steele County, Brian Lamont, is going to come up and help with that. Where's Ryan? There he is.
Like Jerry said, I'm the new Rice and Steele County Extension Educator for Agriculture. I'm here to present the Farm Family of the Year Award. So the Farm Family Recognition Program honors farm families from throughout Minnesota who have made significant contributions to Minnesota agriculture and their communities. This program has been sponsored and coordinated by the University of Minnesota Extension, the College of Food, Agriculture, and Natural Resource Sciences, and the College of Veterinary Medicine since 1979. The statewide Farm Family Recognition Day, where families from all 87 counties are recognized, will take place at Farm Fest on Thursday, August 8th. Each year, the Rice County Extension Committee selects a Farm Family of the Year from the county. The County Extension Committee is composed of 6 public members, 2 commissioners, and county staff. Besides selecting the farm family, they provide support for extension programs and advocate for services for county citizens. I would like to extend a thank you to the committee members that are here today. Could you stand and be recognized, those on the County Extension Committee? Okay, so this year's Rice County Extension Committee has selected Ray and Darlene Larson for their 2024 Farm Family of the Year. So if the family would please come on up and be recognized here, and I'll read a little bio. So, Ray grew up on a small hobby farm west of Northfield, and Darlene grew up on a dairy farm near Webster. The couple were married in 1977 and purchased Ray's aunt's farm west of Northfield on Highway 19. Over the years, the Larsons have raised corn, soybeans, canning crops, and hay, with hay being the major enterprise. They also raise about 80 beef cattle a year, with around 18 head each year that are purchased directly by customers. The Larsons have moved to a no-till practices with their soybeans and minimum tilling of their corn. The farm is a Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certified farm through the Minnesota Department of Agriculture. Ray and Darlene have 2 children, John and Emily. John and his family operate Bridgewater Farm Pumpkin Patch at the family's farm every fall. They also help when needed on the farm. Emily and her family live in Dallas, Texas, and visit twice a year. I don't know if this year happens to be one of the 2 times or if there's going to be an extra one, so they really enjoy the activities on the farm. Ray was a board member on the Cannon Valley Co-op for 15 years. Ray and Darlene are active members of the Trinity Lutheran Church in Northfield, where Ray has served as an elder, head usher, and sings in the choir. Darlene is on the Fellowship Committee and Altar Guild. Ray also serves on the Bridgewater Planning and Zoning and the Northfield Retirement Facility Committee. Darlene volunteers as Bridgewater election judge. The Larsons have been longtime supporters and volunteers with their local FFA and 4-H. In the fall, Ray and Darlene enjoy seeing the families come to the farm for the pumpkin patch and to see the animals and learn about agriculture. You guys would like to make some comments?
Ray isn't shy.
One correction, I attempt to sing in the choir. We are very honored to receive this award. I think there's so many families in the county that deserve it, but if it's our turn, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Honored, we got everybody here except our oldest grandson and his dad are in a baseball tournament in Georgia. Otherwise, they'd be here too. So, thank you very much.
Well, we just have left this morning the Sesquicentennial Farm. So we always recognize Centennial Farms, which is 100 years. Randy Hansen, why don't you come on up here, Rice County Farm Bureau President. The Centennial Farms, 100 years, continuous family ownership of at least 50 acres in size. That program is run by the Minnesota Farm Bureau and the Minnesota State Fair. The Sesquicentennial, 150 years. And over the years, Randy, I think we've had a couple over the years, but wow, this year, no century farms are recognized, but 3 sesquicentennial farms.
Yeah, that's really great to have these people show up, and they have to apply for this. So it isn't like somebody hands it to them. They have to apply for these awards. So like today we have 3 of them, and I want to say 150 years. I don't think there's too many people, maybe Jerry maybe knows about that time, but I don't know about anybody else. But anyway, our first recipient will be the McGillans. Were they be able to come today? I called them all, and a couple of them are here, I think. They might not be here. But anyway, their farm's located in Kilkenny. They was bought by the Christian Lowell in 1897 to 1913, and then it went to Charles till 1959, and in 59 Clarence bought it, and at the present owners are Jean Lowell, Gail Lowell Gillen, and Janet Lowell. So If you see them, tell them congratulations. Our next winners was the Tom Murphy. Was Tom here today? Okay. That farm was purchased in 1981 or 1881 by Patrick, and then 1881 the next owner was John, and 1916 Thomas Murphy, and the next owner was Leo, and the present owners Tom and Joyce Murphy, Richard and Jennifer Murphy are the present owners, and that's located. Let's see, it's right by Waterville. Must be right on the border there. So if you see them, tell them congratulations. And the last one we have McFarland's. Is it Brian? Is that Brian? Come on up. You can maybe give some history. I have the history, but I think it'd be better heard from you.
Better written down. You can add a few things.
You can add a few things, sure.
Thank you. I didn't come with the history prepared. The farm was originally purchased in our family in 1872 with Neil Broslin. He was first cousin of McFadden's, and then Edward Broslin, John McFadden was the first McFadden, and then which is my great-grandfather, and then Francis, my grandfather, and then currently Lawrence and Kathy, my parents. They couldn't be here this morning. They're on a well-deserved vacation, but they've owned and operated the family farm for the last 50-plus years. It's still going. About 5-6 years ago, parents approached me and said, they were ready to retire, kind of ready to hand things over. So my family moved out to the farm, ready to kind of take things over. And now that I'm there to kind of do the heavy lifting of stuff, hard to get Dad to kind of really hand things over. So every spring he's right back out there in the fields planting and doing the field work. I think they're listening, so maybe this is the year that he's finally going to call it quits and let me take things over next spring. I know if they were here this morning, they'd want to kind of thank everybody that's made the farm be successful over the years. Growing up, my grandparents on both sides of the family were always there, lending their support and wisdom. My sister Jeanette and my brother Shane and their families, big part of the family growing up, big part of the farm growing up, extended family, and also lots of good neighbors that we've had over the years that have been there to help us be successful. Without all that help, we wouldn't be as successful as we have been. So, thank you.
Thank you, Brian. I was just noticing on the bottom of the paper here, the land was purchased for a total of $450, $2.81 per acre. Jerry, what's that today money? What would that be today?
I'll quadruple that on.
There was one other fun note in here that I always found interesting too. The original farm, the original barn, was sold to the neighbors. Is it in here? One of the pages. It's a funny. Here it is. It was traded to the neighbors for $10 and a pig. So I would like to have that barn back.
Thank you very much. And then I also want to say Dan Pumper and his crew from Farm Bureau Federation Insurance helped serve the lunch today. So if you see Dan, tell him thank you very much. So thank you.
And let's give our sesquicentennial pretty amazing when you think about 150 years, even 100 years through the Depression, some really hard times, and families were still able to hang on to the land. I'll never forget a story that my grandfather said about the Depression. He was able to hang on to his land, but he said he had neighbors. They had their land paid for, and they could not make enough money to pay the real estate taxes. They lost the land. They said they were never wealthy again, but the farmers that could hang on to their land were wealthy again because it's enduring wealth. But that attachment to that land, it's more than just a financial security. It's hard to explain to people that don't own land maybe. That's why it's so much fun working with Steve and other county SWCDs and what we can do to preserve the land, because when you own land, your goal is to take care of it and pass it on to the next generation in better condition than it was when you got it. Well, I think we're almost running out of things to do. Cassie, you aren't yelling at me like Jerry, you forgot something. Well, let's pull up Kelly Watts, one of the co-chairman of the Faribault Chamber of Commerce Agribusiness Committee.
My name's Kelly Watts. I'm with the Community Co-op, and I learned an interesting fact today. The fair turns 100 years old this year. I did not know that it was 100 years old this year.
And the Rice County 4-H is...
And Rice County 4-H also. So that is a very cool fun fact, and our Community Co-op turns 100 years old next year. So some good history here in Rice County.
And let the record show, Kelly was doing her job, because I saw the community co-op fuel truck going to all of the places filling up the propane tank. Kelly saw that. She ran to get her phone out to take a picture of it.
You caught that. Yes, anyhow, I'm part of the PR. Anyhow, I just want to say thank you to everyone who came today. Appreciate all of our sponsors. I just want to quickly say again, thank you to our Chamber Agribusiness Committee for putting all of this together. We did work really hard on it, especially Cassie, I will give her that. The Rice County Farm Bureau and Farm Bureau Financial Services, Dan Humber, Randy Hansen, you guys are amazing. Thank you for the wonderful breakfast brought here by Hy-Vee, so we appreciate both of them. Doug Gilbertson with the Near Strand Agri Center, the Rice County Fair Board, and Peter Van Sluis. Rice County and our Chamber Jerry Grosskreutz. We need to say thank you to Jerry Grosskreutz. You're awesome. Thank you very much for doing a great job on this year. So at that, I also want to mention my daughter and son-in-law were the ones that took over the Janet Lowe, the 150-year-old farm. They are now farming that and reviving it. I mean, they have the steer, the chickens, and he's part of the salmon family too, so they have a lot of pigs. So anyhow, they did revive that farm, and I'm really appreciative that they received an award for 150 years this year.
And before we wrap it up, I'd just like to mention again, we'd love to have some more members of the Faribault Chamber of Commerce Agribusiness Committee. Some of the things that we do that I'm really involved in, and I would not be able to do this if I were not involved in the Faribault Chamber of Commerce Agribusiness Committee. But Brent Fuchs, and I thought I saw Brent here earlier, didn't I? There he is back there. What do you think the chances are of a couple farm boys going to the elementary school in Faribault and say, we'd like to come and talk to your kids about where their food comes from? I don't think we'd stand much of a chance, but because we're with the Chamber every year, Brent and I get into all these classrooms, and all we do, went out to Hy-Vee and got all sorts of grocery items that kids would recognize, and then we go and talk about where they came from, and virtually everything there has some form of corn or soybeans. And now, an interesting story, and these are third graders, so we're just trying to get them to make the connection. If they like to eat, they need a farmer. So we'll be going through the presentation related to everything to corn and soybeans, and at some point Brent will say, well, what was for lunch today? So of course then we can relate everything to corn and soybean growing right outside of town. And smart aleck Jerry would say, well gee, maybe it'd be better if we wouldn't have farmers. Then you wouldn't have to waste your time eating lunch. You could study and do homework. Just think how much smarter you'd be. So of course you get this chorus of no's. I'll never forget this one little girl. It was just instant. I said that, she jumped up, put her hands up, well, you need to eat to live. Got through to that one. But that's one of the things, and then with the Chamber, we get some grants, and all these kids get to go out to a real farm, a livestock farm, coordinated again by the Agribusiness Committee. So we do that, we help with this program and a number of other things, and we could always use more members, right, Ms. Co-President?
That's right. I have a couple other noteworthy events coming up. The Passport for Agriculture, if you haven't heard about that.
Yep, we got 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay. Passport to Agriculture event is coming up on Thursday, August 8th. We are from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's going to be out here at the fairgrounds. It is really cool. It's bringing the country to the city. A lot of really cool events. We are looking for a lot of volunteers. So if you want to hit me up, there's a few other you can talk to about how to get the volunteer opportunity that day. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't even tell you, it's like really, it's fun stuff like cornrow and, come on, help me out.
All sorts of different stations with livestock and rides and tractors and
Safety stuff like grain bin rescues.
safety and highway safety.
Yep, it brings it all together in one event, and that is Thursday, August 8th from 3 to 8 p.m. We also have on Wednesday, September 4th at the community co-op, we have at our energy plant, we will be doing our next farm safety lunch and learn, which is we will be giving away a lot of free stuff, and it's a lot of good information regarding fuel safety and pipeline safety. So if you can come to that, and then the farm business lunch, which is again put on by our agribusiness committee, is Thursday, November 21st at the American Legion. So some good events coming up. Just keep tuned to us, and thank you all again for being here today. It's been a pleasure.
And we'd like to mention the sponsor so we could broadcast this live today here from the Rice County Fair, hopefully giving other counties maybe an idea to do it. Keller Insurance Agency, thanks to Craig over there in your strand, Hy-Vee Food Store in Faribault, Rice County SWCD, and South Central College. And one last reminder, you might be thinking of someone that should be nominated for the Rice County Agriculture Hall of Fame. Now's the time to start thinking about it, getting things organized, and maybe we can honor them next year. So thank you for coming. Enjoy the fair. And Pete, we'll send it back to you at KDHL Studios, and I will take a bow because I actually got done on time.